Hello, and welcome back to a Foodly Gay Mystery Docket. I'm your host, Tim, who is no longer going to look good in a wig. And with me here today is my co-host, Derek, who's deathly afraid of mistletoe. How are you doing, Derek?
Deathly afraid of mistletoe. Oh, is it? I should have figured that. That's like God killer. God, like, yeah. Okay, I get it now. Yeah, whatever. Okay.
I can't believe you didn't figure it out that immediately.
Well, I forgot. Yeah, I just immediately forgot that we were talking about Loki.
It immediately fell out of your head.
Fucking whatever. Yeah, yeah. Just immediately, just flew out of my consciousness. Yeah, it's been a busy weekend and it's gonna stay busy. I'm just tired.
Probably. It sounds like it. How are you doing, brother?
Yeah, I am doing all right. I got a couple of games of Trench Crusade in today, and I won both of them, so I'm very excited.
Hell yeah.
My Trench Ghosts, despite all of my complaints about them, they still got the juice. We are still in it, boys.
You're still goated with the sauce?
Still goated with, still a bunch of quirked up white boys goated with the sauce. A little bit of swagger. Tim, how you doing?
I'm doing pretty good. Today was the last day of work before, getting some PTO. So I'm gonna take the next 2 days off. I'm gonna get Sunday and Memorial Day off. Probably my normal days off, but I did tell her like, hey, if you guys need help, I'll come in Tuesday or Wednesday. But I've already got plans both for Sunday, Monday. So like, you're not seeing me.
Cool. Hell yeah. Yeah. Hell yeah.
My boys coming over tomorrow. Derek, Matt, and Robert. And then gonna go see family on Monday.
Hell yeah. Yeah, we both kind of sound, well, I definitely sound tired. It's spring in Oklahoma for just some reason just fucking drains people.
Oh yeah.
I don't know if it's a tornado. I don't know if it's like fucking start just the weather change. I don't know what it is, but something about Oklahoma weather just like in the springtime just fucking drains the life out of people. I can feel it. Yeah. So what are we going to be talking about today, Tim?
Well, I need to know what you're drinking first.
Oh yeah, fine. Oh, Jesus, so forceful. Okay, yeah. So for my drinks, for my shots, I got myself some. This is going to sound weird because me being a rum guy, you'd think I'd have tried this by now, but I haven't.
Yeah, I was quite surprised when you first told me, like, at least once, right?
Yeah, I never had the chance. I've had better rums and I've had presumably worse rums, but it just, even though this is like your stereotypical like pseudo fancy rum that you get at college parties, it never came around my way for some reason. I don't know why, but I got some Bacardi Gold. It's going to be a 40%. No expectations. Don't know what to. I expect rum. I expect very generic rum.
I don't know if I've ever drinking Bacardi either. I was tempted to buy it, but I was like, I am very picky on my rum. I better not. I probably won't like it.
And for my sipper, I just went to one of my old reliables. Just a 6-pack of Guinness Extra Stout, 5.6%. I did not go fancy on this episode. I did not get anything local. It was just, it was there. I was in the mood for some Guinness, and I hadn't tried Bacardi before, so I figured, fuck it, why not? Yeah, Tim, what are you drinking?
Fair enough. So, to round out that round of 4 beers I went and got, I'll have to do something for next episode, but I went ahead and got Chi Chi from Nothing's Left, which I don't remember what kind of beer. Actually, I'm going to pull it up right here because they have it on their website. Okay, so Chi is a traditional tiki-style pineapple, coconut, and macadamia nut sour.
Sounds fine. I just one of those I don't know. I wouldn't know what to expect from it.
It feels like it needs another little flavor to have at the end kick to make it. It feels incomplete when I'm drinking it. Is what I'll say. It's good, but it just feels like it's missing one last little thing, like a kick at the end.
Gotcha.
And then for my alcohol, I decided to go with a tequila. It is Portoro, I think so.
Let me see.
Potro.
Potro. Potro.
Poro Patro. Let's go with that. It's 100% agave azul blanco. So 42% to liter. It was $30 after tax. So it's not great, not bad. It's a big bottle for $30. So
Oh, Puro Potro.
Poro Patro.
Puro Potro.
Okay. Y'all will have to forgive me for my pronunciations this episode. Not just the Spanish, but I'm going to be saying some Old Norse words.
Ooh.
And I am not going to do well at my pronunciations. And I apologize in advance. I am not going to do good.
Yeah, I will help you out with that. I'm pretty decent at Norse pronunciations, so it's similar enough to German. I think I can, cobble it together. On the subject, we were just talking about when I was growing up, my dad, since he comes from a German family, the word that we used, or that he used when we were kids, as like he wouldn't say ass in front of a kid. He wouldn't curse in front of a kid. So what he'd say instead is the German slang for it, which is popo.
All I can think is Team 4 Stars Dragon Ball of Age. Po-po!
That's a reference that goes over my head. I'm sorry, bud.
I swear I need to sit you down like you did with me on Hellsing Ultimate Abridged and make you watch Dragon Ball Z Abridged.
Yeah. Hellsing Ultimate Abridged is really, like, those early episodes are really dated, but it got really good at the end.
Oh yeah, it was very interesting.
It was pretty funny throughout. You know what still actually really holds up? The actual original subtitle Hellsing Ultimate is just genuinely actually one of my favorite animes.
I still need to watch it.
Yeah, we should probably just sit down and watch it sometime.
For real. I've got both Hellsing and Hellsing Ultimate on my Crunchyroll to be watched, but I haven't watched it.
Yeah, it's a good watch. It's a lot of fun. It's of course I'm real big into that whole real gritty, grimdark aesthetic. So it really appealed to me, and all of the religious imagery. I'm a real sucker for that. But I think it stands on its own as a really just a decent story with really neat themes, and yeah, it's pretty good. Just pretty solid. It still holds up. So yeah, what are we talking about? What are we doing today? What's this all about? So let me get this straight. This whole thing of yours that you're doing is supposed to be kind of true crime or mysteries and stuff like that. And today we're just randomly talking about.
Well, what's more mysterious than mythology, sir?
I don't know. I guess that's a fair. I guess that's a fair question to ask. What is more mysterious than mythology? I'd really like to know who came up with this crap. Honestly,
I have no idea. It's really interesting.
Well, was there just one guy in ancient Bronze Age German history that just, or I guess. Well, because it would be earlier than that, right? Because they were Indo-Europeans. They're the early Indo-European kind of.
All of our known for Norse mythology specifically is post-Christianization. So we don't know what the actual original mythology looked like prior to Christianization.
I know that we have some general ideas because my big area that I'm really interested in is late antiquity, kind of fall Roman Empire. I know that we have a little bit of information about Germanic paganism, which is basically the same thing, but in a different cultural context. As I know that we can kind of glean some information about what sort of Viking Germanic mythology.
Well, little thing that I found out, so I'm assuming that this is the everything I read on here, because I didn't do a whole lot of scholarly work, because to order to understand any mythology deeply and actually track history, you've got to do a lot of academic level research for years and years to actually understand this stuff on a deep level and know all the origins. But I didn't know this, but apparently at one point Frigg and Frigga were just the same entity, even though they split off, because we don't actually get a lot of information on Freya, which I think is the original Odin's wife.
Yeah.
That we know today, and Frigga actually is the one who actually gets a lot of the history, because besides, I was just going to go ahead and read out my source. That way, this week I kind of sourced everything from the same website. It's a guy who's kind of piecing together everything, and basically he's making the Norse mythology for dummies website. Basically, he doesn't call it that. It's Norse mythology for smart people is what it's called. Is like the title, and it's just Norse-mythology.org, run by Daniel McCoy. Alrighty, are you ready to learn about our gender-fluid god Loki the trickster?
Yeah, genuinely one of the most interesting gods in this whole pantheon, which is one of the most interesting pantheon of like the ancient like pagan pantheons in European history.
I think it's one of the most popular pagan religions, in my opinion.
Yeah. I think the Norse pantheon is probably the most interesting, but I find myself always kind of like attracted back to like the Roman pantheon because I think it's very underappreciated. Like a lot of people just kind of like lump it in with the Greeks, and like there's a lot of like direct one-to-one between Greek and Roman because Roman religion had a lot of inspiration from Greek, but it's a lot more complicated than that, and it's something I.
You know what I want to learn more about? I want to learn more about Eastern religions. Like I've heard a lot about Shinto mythology, but I've not actually got to learn in like a media way learn about it, not actually like find out what the actual beliefs, the actual stories on the gods and all that, like how it's actually told. I've heard a lot, like I know Journey to the West isn't actually about their gods, but like the actual like Chinese god and religion stuff like that.
Right. Yeah, I don't know a lot about Eastern mythology. That's very much a blind spot for me. So yeah, that's that's probably something we should read about in the future and circle back to.
Yeah, and I'm not just here for the podcast. I'm just more interested in general because like I only know a lot about those religions through media, not in the same way we know about at least like the Greek and the Romans and all that. Like we actually hear directly about those stories, not like them just being offhandly mentioned in other stories. Obviously no rules this week because I just couldn't think to theme one that wouldn't just destroy us.
Hell yeah, let's go for it. Prost.
Cheers. Okay, so before we do that, this is kind of supposed to be our Pride Month episode, and we're going from the fact that in historical depictions, Loki is kind of seen as a gender-fluid character, unlike most times when characters, like specifically one of the stories we're going to talk about is when Thor dresses up as Freya to get his hammer back. In the original stories, as far as we are aware, the story refers to Loki with female pronouns while he's disguised, even though Thor is using male pronouns. And that makes sense for a shape-shifting trickster god.
Yeah, it's...
If you're a shapeshifter, you're gonna be a gender-fluid character, in my opinion.
Yeah. Also sometimes a horse with 6 legs. Yeah.
I was about to say, that getting right into it, Loki and his horse. Sometimes you'll be a horse. That's the first one. The fortification of Asgard. So in the early days of Asgard, before they had when you see depictions of Asgard, it's this like city-state looking thing with a huge barrier wall around it, right?
Yeah.
We're going to talk about the building of that wall around the city-state.
We have to build a wall, folks. We have to build a wall.
A beautiful wall.
We gotta keep the frost giants. We gotta keep the giants out of Asgard, folks.
Funny enough, it was a giant who built the wall.
Oh, the giant built. I thought the wall was built to keep the giants out.
So one day, a smith arrives in Asgard, offering to build the wall for the Aesir gods, which is what the Norse. There's 2 sets of gods in Norse mythology, and the main one we're gonna be talking about this week is the Aesir, which is the high level gods in Norse mythology. I forget what the other Vanir. The Vanir are the other set of gods, which Loki is both an Aesir and a Vanir.
Yeah, just made me think about this. You had a smith come in to build a wall, and it made me think, like, Trump is a very dwarven name. And the dwarves were smiths, so they had a dwarf named Trump came in and built that wall.
I mean, other than his height, he looks like a fucking dwarf.
Yeah, he's just He is a dwarf with gigantism.
Basically. So the smith rocks up to Asgard's like, hey, yo, I can build you a wall to protect you from those who might wish you ill. And he said he could finish it within 3 seasons, but he wanted something very, very... He wanted 3 things, in fact, for his work, and they were very steep to the gods.
Ooh.
Can you guess any of those? One of them is very, like, it happens repeatedly through Norse mythology.
Is it Freya?
Yes.
He wants Freya's hand in marriage. Yeah, that happens a lot. Everybody wants to fucking marry Freya.
And he wants the sun and the fucking moon.
He wants the sun and the moon.
Yes.
Oh boy, that's a... I don't lowball me. I know what I'm worth. I know what I got.
So the gods started, like, they grouped up. They're like, should we do it? And they're like, what the fuck? Why? That's way too much, basically. But Loki's like, I mean, if he can do the work, he deserves what he's requesting. Like, but they decided to give him some caveats instead of just, like, meet him where he's at. So instead of 3 seasons, he's given until the end of winter. A single winter is what it says. And he can have no help but from his horse.
Fucking time crunches in this fucking industry are just killing our wall developers. It's these time crunches. You don't give them enough time, so they have to work like fucking 80, 90-hour weeks.
Well, yeah, but they have no intention of any time that someone's trying to get Freya's hand in marriage. They're not going to give up Freya's hand in marriage. It obviously, because it's like, I think it's Frigg is the one that's known to be married to Odin. One of the two is married in the religion, but we don't know much about, like, her actual, like, what she does. Like, there's no background. Then the other one actually has a bunch of background information on her. They're basically identical gods, is what I found through the site briefly that I remember offhand.
I imagine that's kind of a thing that, like, there's probably several different writings that have, like, several different versions of it that, like some that, like, conflate Freya and Frigg, and some that just give a distinction.
From what I understand, is a lot of the issue with Norse mythology is a lot of it was originally oral traditions, so they already had the telephone game happen, then they got written down.
Yeah, because I know that something else that happened with is that in Iron Age Germanic mythology, their kind of equivalents to Thor and Tyr were actually conflated. So they had one god who was, I think he was just called Tur, and he was considered both the god of, like, legality and jurisprudence and justice, and also of, like, magic and storms and things like that.
Interesting. They had no intention of, like, giving Freya away, nor the sun or the moon, because they didn't want it was too inconvenient to pay that, basically. Like, not just from, like, hey, we're stingy people. Like, it would lead to an eternal winter, all kinds of bad stuff.
Yeah. If you give up the sun and you can't grow crops, you give up the moon, and all of us, like, you can't see at night. It's just a big inconvenience.
I mean, I'm sure by now, like some people, like most people have, like, heard what happens if the sun just blinks out. Well, it'll take, like, I think it was 8 minutes, and then we'll go into an eternal winter before we just, like, the gravity of the sun goes away, and then we just start flying through space, but we'll probably be dead before we start falling through space.
Oh yeah, it would be a nightmare scenario. It genuinely probably one of the worst.
It's an apocalypse no one survives.
No, because that's the power source of our entire biosphere. Like, we lose that, and we just... it's like taking the battery out of a remote control. Like, the remote's not going to work after that.
Exactly. And that's why they gave him such impossible demands. He went ahead and agreed to their terms. However, he made them swear oaths to ensure that if he did it successfully, he would be paid. Basically, and that's something that I think comes out through a lot of religion, that if there's an oath sworn, it has to be fulfilled, even if a lot of the times in the story, you're doing stuff that essentially force it to not be fulfilled, that you don't have to follow up on your word, which seems dubious at best, but whatever. It's a lot of mythology like that.
Typical God stuff. You make an oath, you're metaphysically bound by it.
Yeah, it happens pretty often. From there, they go ahead and swear it. and he actually gets to work on it. And the gods quickly start shitting their pants. Wanna know why?
Oh shit, this guy's actually good. This guy's the real deal.
He starts doing it, and what's even crazier is his horse is helping him, and his horse is like doing twice the work he is. His horse is named Spilfardi. Again, I can't guarantee that was a great pronunciation. I apologize if it's not. Which means unlucky traveler.
That's suspicious. I think we should take a closer look at this. Horse of his.
That's suspicious. That's weird. I love that.
That's suspicious.
From there, they go ahead and see, hey, we have 3 days left, and all he's got to do is the stones around the gate. He's almost done with 3 days to go. So from, like, he and his horse are rocking and rolling, and they get to 3 days from the end of winter, and all they have got left are the stones around the entrance gates. But remember, this is a huge, giant, magical city-state, so these probably like boulder size or whatever. Like, this isn't just stones. So with 3 days to go, the gods are shitting their pants again. They're like, what the fuck? He's doing it.
Yeah, they're shitting the bricks that he needs to finish the wall.
Unfortunately, the gods just pull Loki to the side. It's like, what the fuck, man? Make sure he doesn't finish on time or we're going to kill you.
Oh, I love when gods freak the fuck out.
This happens a lot. Basically, Loki does something. They tell him, fix it or we kill you.
Yeah, they shit on Loki all the fucking time. Like, he's the punching bag of the Aesir.
Well, I mean, he was the black sheep. He wasn't supposed to be in the Aesir. He was, like, forcefully like, they were basically arm twisted to adopt him, I think, if I remember correctly. But that's not part of today's story. So, our Smith, who, I didn't mention this at the beginning, but I meant to, is likely a giant in disguise, which happens so many times throughout this story.
Classic.
Like, if there's a bad guy in the story, it was likely a giant.
Yeah, the giants, they just keep coming back. The Vanir, they're not sending their best, folks.
So, the Smith and his horse set off into the woods, and they're trying to get the last couple stones, and Loki sees this, so he transforms into a mare to distract the horse. Apparently, he was very ravishing as a horse, and unlucky traveler just slips his reins and is just bolting for him.
Oh, that's so much. That's a whole lot. Oh, jeez. He turned himself into a sexy horse.
Yep, and he was so sexy that unlucky traveler chased him all night long.
Yeah, I genuinely don't know how to react to this. This is just such a crazy story.
So the Smith starts panicking because he's like, well, fuck, there's no way I can finish now.
Yeah.
So then this article just like, I'm assuming these myths kind of jump around like this too, because from what I've seen, there's a lot of jumping in Norse myths anyway.
Oh yeah, the poetic, like all of the sagas, like the stories of the sagas, like the poetic Edda, they're absolute messes. There's no rhyme or reason to them.
So since he's not going to be able to finish it, the Aesir decide to pay him what he's deserved. Do you know what that is?
Oh, I bet they fucking like chain him up and enslave him or something.
Nope. Thor bashes his brains in.
Oh, the classic. Oh, I love stories where giants get their brains bashed in by Thor.
In fact, his head shattered into pieces no bigger than breadcrumbs.
Oh, these fucking... The Aesir are such fucking assholes. Jesus.
To be fair, the giants were fucking assholes too.
Yeah, okay. Gods are just fucking assholes in pagan religions. They're such pieces of shit.
I don't think... Are the Jotuns supposed to be gods too?
Are the what?
Are the giants / Jotuns, because they're supposed to be frost giants, supposed to be gods too?
Oh, I don't know. I guess kind of like celestial adjacent, I guess.
They're not really... they're not supposed to be mortals, but they're also not supposed... they're that weird, almost demigod, not really a demigod, gray area.
Yeah, they're like one step above. I'm sure that they were kind of like considered gods, but of like a different country. Like,
well, it's just like, I didn't realize this, but in the more I've heard Wendigoon specifically talk about religion, the more I realize demons in the Bible aren't like demons the way we think. They're literally just other gods. That's really what it breaks down to.
Yeah.
So after getting it, the Smith gets his head bashed in, eventually Loki shows back up. with Sleipnir, his son, an 8-legged horse.
Oh, oh, that is. Oh, the things.
Who would eventually become Odin's steed. So Odin is technically riding his grandson into battle.
Odin, buddy. Oh, the things that went unsaid. The things that were left to the imagination in that story. Oh, that's such a crazy story.
It doesn't... all of Norse mythology is fucking crazy.
It's so much fun, too. Like, yeah, Loki took one for the team and got turned into a horse, then got fucked by another horse. And now he has a horse kid.
Not just fucked, impregnated.
Oh, God, there's definitely some drawings of this out there.
There is some early furry porn of this.
Yeah, oh, God. And modern furry porn, I have no doubt.
There's furry porn of everything, to be perfectly fucking honest. Rule 64. If it exists, there is porn.
34.
34, sorry.
It warms my heart that you made that mistake, because it means you're not familiar with it.
No, I know the rule. I'm just dyslexic and can never remember the actual number.
That's fair.
On to our next story, Loki in Idun.
Idun? Oh, this is exciting. I'm not...
Idun. It's I-H Dun is how it's pronounced. Idun.
Idun.
Idun. Which translates to the rejuvenating one. And here's where I'm going to have to get a little bit and explain a little bit of Norse mythology that almost no one knows. So Idun is actually the one who makes the Aesir immortal.
Okay.
She grows these fruits, and modernly we interpret it as an apple, but did not... At the time, there would have been no apples in this part of the world.
Yeah.
So it's just generally believed it was like some kind of fruit and or nuts.
I was just thinking, like, I bet it was probably like a nut of some kind. Or maybe like a root. Some sort of root, like a radish.
And eating these fruits is what kept the Aesir young, spry, and alive.
Yeah, an apple a day keeps the doctor away.
It keeps the Jotun away.
Oh yeah, you got to keep them away. Yeah, they're not gonna try to cure you. They're just gonna try to eat you.
That or con you.
Yeah, it is a good mix. The Jotun are basically a nice little mix of, like, they'll either cannibalize you or they'll try to steal your money.
Or force someone to marry them.
Yeah, they're basically like, yeah, they are kind of just crackheads, aren't they?
A little bit. So, one day, Thor, Loki, and Heinir were out adventuring. 3 gods. Heinir is an obscure Aesir god. They don't have a settled decide what kind of god he was, because there's contradictory stuff out there.
Yeah, he's another Aesir. He's one of the general milieu.
That's all. That's for all that matters. That's the only part that matters. Is like he was out with Odin and Loki. That's all that matters.
Yeah, he was the bro that everybody knows his name, but nobody really hangs out with.
So they were going through the desolate mountains, far away from Asgard. They got to this area where, like, there was just, like, not a lot of food. And they were kind of, like, starving, basically, is what's implied. And they come across some oxen. And they decide, let's just slaughter it. One of them. Like, they're not going to, like, kill them all. But they kill one of them, and they go to cook it, and it's not cooking.
Oh, that's suspicious. That's weird.
Out of nowhere, an eagle's like, that's my doing. I did it. I'll stop and let you cook it if I can have first picks.
Wait, who is this? An eagle.
An eagle.
Okay. All right, kind of out of left field, but I'm on board.
Basically, what he says is, I'm using my magic to stop you from cooking. If I can have my fill of the meat, I'll stop using my magic, and you'd be able to cook it. The guys get upset by this, but they're like, I mean, we don't have a way to counter him without the long protracted of trying to just go kill him. So they go ahead and let him take his fill, and he gets the nicest cuts of the meat. Like, he gets the best parts, basically.
Yeah, he gets that New York strip. He gets that filet mignon, and then they're just left with the.
Basically, you remember that one episode of Ned's Declassified School Survival Guide where one bite shows up and like, oh, one bite won't hurt, and just eats like 3/4 of the fucking meal.
It's been so long since I watched that show. That doesn't even though I watched every single episode of that show, that story doesn't even ring a bell.
There's an episode where basically, if you leave your food unattended or don't watch it or are too nice to this guy, he eats a big portion of it in a single bite. It's like, can I just have one bite?
Fucking asshole.
Also, don't look up the podcast because it will ruin your childhood because they was fucking on set hard. Like, a lot of nasty shit has come out about what was actually happening on set on there. And they were, and it's not from Schneider. Like, they didn't have as many, like, they kind of saw him as creepy, but like, they didn't have any issues with Schneider. This is all teenager angst drama stuff that had happened.
Oh, jeez.
Like, they talk about how the girl who played Mose gave the guy who played Ned his first BJ and all that stuff, and I'm like, wow, guys, don't ruin our childhood like that.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
All right. All right. Yeah. Anyways, so the AC are left with all of the like the shitty sirloins and the chuck meat.
Well, him picking all the good shit pissed Loki off, and he tries to snatch up the eagle. But basically, the eagle just takes the fuck off with Loki.
just grabs the bitch and takes off.
Well, the way I'm looking at it is I think Loki tried to grab his feet, and as soon as he grabbed his feet, the eagle just went, boom, zoomed off with Loki, is how I'm seeing it in my head.
Oh, that's good. That's fun.
This terrified Loki.
Yeah, no fucking shit.
And begged the eagle to release him.
Oh, bad choice of words.
But it turns out, I am going to butcher this pronunciation. It even has a little help on pronouncing it, but I'm not going to do good. Thiazi, I think? Thiazi? It was really Thiazi, a giant in disguise.
Oh, these fucking giants. I'm sick of these motherfucking giants.
In this motherfucking Norse mythology.
Trying to fucking steal our sun and moon, taking all of the prime cuts of this ox.
And Thiazi decides, I'm not going to let you go until you swear an oath to bring me Heathdune and her fruits.
Yeah. I think they should have seen that coming eventually.
Loki, being the coward he is, agrees. So he gets released, and the Aesir just go about their journey and eventually come back to Asgard. Upon return, Loki's like, hey, Heathdune, I found some fruits that are better than yours. Grab some so we can compare them. And takes her out into the forest outside of Asgard. Thiazi is waiting there in his eagle form, and he snatches up Heathdune and flies away. Some time goes by, and the gods and goddesses realize, hey, we haven't seen Heathdune. She's gone. And we're starting to get old again.
Oh no.
We're losing our immortality. So they get together and they start talking and trying to figure out what happened. They start investigating, and they realize she was last seen with Loki.
Oh, Loki, you son of a bitch.
So they grab Loki and threaten him until he doesn't tell them what happened. And he tells them, then he's like, go rescue her or we're going to kill you.
Can Loki ever catch a break?
No, but he sets himself up for a lot of this shit, to be fair.
Yeah, Jesus, I'm sorry. He just, I don't know, I feel like he kind of, how much, I'm imagining like a lot of this is just learned, like him being kind of forced to be adopted by the Aesir. They kind of, like, he kind of had to become this guy to kind of fit in with them a little bit.
Yeah, like, I'm not saying Loki's innocent, but I'm not saying he's like, I entirely blame some of his actions. Like sounds like Loki just got thrown around and threatened left and right, and he just kind of had to roll with the punches at some points. Other points, yeah, no, he's like 1,000% a piece of shit. So Freya goes ahead and lends Loki some hawk feathers, magical hawk feathers she has, which will let him turn into a hawk. So he flies off to Jotunheim. Thiazi lives at Thurmanhin in Jotunheim, which is Thunderhome. I'm just going to use Thunderhome from there. So he gets to Jotunheim, makes it to Thunderhome, and he realizes, hey, Thiazi is gone. He's out fishing. I can just steal Heathdune back. So without hesitating, he turns the goddess into a nut and speeds the fuck away. Like, snatches her up and...
turns you say turns her into a nut?
Yes.
Turns her into a nut.
Snatches it up in his talons and flies the fuck away.
Oh, Jesus. Okay. That's an efficient efficient form of transport, I guess.
So when Thyzy gets back from his fishing, he's like, "Well, fuck, my woman's gone. That I fairly blackmailed Loki for." So he turns back into an eagle and like storms to Asgard, like flies to Asgard. And right when Loki gets within sight of Asgard, Thyzy's catching up with him. Like he can see Thyzy on his tail. So the rest of the Aesir see this and they're like, well, fuck. Let's go ahead and prepare some kindling all around Asgard. Basically, the way I'm picturing in my head is on the outskirts of Asgard, they just put a bunch of kindling and woods. Basically, they make instead of like a normal bonfire, they make a circle bonfire around the city walls, but they don't light it yet. And so as like Loki's like trying to escape Thyzy, and he makes it past the barrier. And the gods immediately light the kindling and like it goes up fast. And Thyzy has no time to turn around, stop, and just dies instantly.
Just crashes into the giant fucking bonfire.
It says that was his last flight, but they weren't gonna let a giant live like that.
Presumably, yeah.
Outside of Baldur's death, I've not seen. I haven't read all of them, obviously, but I've never seen a story where like a giant doesn't get killed by the Aesir. It's usually Thor doing it, to be perfectly honest.
Yeah, he really likes smashing their skulls in with a hammer.
Yeah, he's about to do a bunch of that with our next story.
You know, whom's amongst us has not smashed someone's head in with a hammer? Let he whose hammer is free of grey matter cast the first.
Okay.
Okay. That was the most loaded okay I've ever heard.
So, on to Thor the Drag Queen.
Oh, this is my all-time favorite Norse mythology story. This comes from the Thrym Sogar. Also, in English, it's called the Lay of Thrym.
Which
the lay is just like an old-fashioned kind of way of saying the death. Like the laying low of Thrym.
Yeah. So one day Thor wakes up and finds Mjolnir missing. He's just in a panic and a rage, searching and can't find it. So she lends. Here's what really weird thing. So they go to Thor and Loki go to Freya to borrow those same falcon feathers. Well, I think it was a hawk last time, but this time it's falcon feathers.
Yeah, from what I've seen in Norse mythology, they kind of use hawk, falcon, and eagle kind of interchangeably.
She lent them to Thor and Loki, but like the way it's described, Loki's the only one who seems to use them.
Yeah, his RPG character sheet is just he has that special ability. He can use the special feathers.
I'm assuming this happens after the story with Idun, because it seems like it says Loki knew how to change his shape and don the feathers and flew to search for it. Also, Loki's a shapeshifter, so like I don't know why he really needs the feathers to begin with.
Well, I like to imagine that for some reason, whenever he changes into another animal, he's just like naked, like there's no fur or feathers or anything. So he can change into a hawk. He just can't like grow the feathers, so he needs to get the feathers from Freya.
That'd be fun. That's a fun way to do it.
Same reason why he was a hot horse was because he was naked, essentially.
I'm not sure that horses would like that, but okay, let's roll with it. So, because the Aesir are racist against the Jotuns, Loki immediately assumes it's the Jotuns, which, to be fair...
well, to be fair, it was a Jotun.
Yeah, to be fair, he was right, but kind of bold of him to assume.
Kind of rude to assume off the bat.
With no ransom, no nothing, just like, oh, it had to have been the Giants. Yeah, I'm gonna go check the Giants. So he gets there and just changes back into his human god form or whatever you want to call it, and walks up to the chief of the Giants, Thrym, which means nosy.
Thrym.
Thrym? That's how it's pronounced, Thrym?
Yep, Thrym or Thrym.
So he starts questioning about the hammer, and Thrym just starts boasting, like, "Yep, that was me. It's buried 8 miles under the ground."
It's
And the story then points out the fact that he's very lonely, that he's very ugly.
Yeah, but you're a chief. You've got political power. You must have bitches fawning all over you for the chance to get to be like your sugar babies or something. Like
Maybe even the giants have standards.
yeah, maybe Jotun women are just like
Still too disgusted by him.
yeah, maybe I don't know. Maybe Jotun men are just like really fucking hot, and just him happening to be the exception makes him like
Unfuckable.
I don't unfuckable. Yeah. Oh god, this is a story about a giant incel.
If you want to interpret it that way, we could probably do that. But he's like, I'm not going to return it unless I can marry Freya.
Man, Freya must have been so fucking hot.
She had to be hotter than Aphrodite because there's not even this many like stories about like, hey, I want to marry Aphrodite in Greek myths like this in this way. Like there's been like mortals who pine over him, but there's not like the like pseudo gods and the neighboring faction begging to bang Aphrodite.
Yeah.
So Loki flies back and like tells the other gods, and they're all pissed off, especially Freya.
Yeah, that's understandable that the Freya would not be a huge fan of the idea.
Well, it's like saying like not only does the leader of one of our worst enemies want us, but he's also probably one of the ugliest ones.
Yeah, disappointing to say the least.
Very. So Heimdall, the absolute troll, is just like Thor can just go as Freya.
Yeah, and Thrym's just a big dumb Jotun. Like, how's he gonna tell the difference?
Thor, obviously being too masculine for this, is like, nah, that's unmanly. Nah.
Which is really funny because in a lot of Norse Pagan practice of the time, of the era, Thor was mainly considered like a feminine god because his realm was he was the god of magic, and so and magic was considered like a feminine practice, like your tribe's magicians, the mages, the priests were always women, and so like when you look, archaeological digs have only ever found Mjolnir pendants, like the hammer pendants that represent Thor, only ever found in the burial mounds and the graves of women.
Damn.
So it's really funny that in this story he considers himself too masculine to be to dress as a woman because his domain, like he literally embodies.
Maybe that's why he was able to pull. Maybe that's why he was able to pull off that so well.
Yeah, it makes me really wonder if like maybe he even kind of looked a little feminine.
Thor, the original Norse femboy.
Oh boy. Oh geez, dude. Okay.
We're gonna have so many white supremacists pissed at us for that one.
Yeah, that, and I was also just thinking the fan art is gonna be fucking. Oh Jesus. Femboy Thor
is not a thing I thought we would be saying tonight.
It's a hell of an image.
So Loki rightly pointed out that if he doesn't, we would have to use the real Freya, and that would mean Asgard is ruled by giants. And so the other gods were like basically forced Thor, no, you've got to do the cross-dressing.
Why would Asgard be ruled by giants if Freya married Thrym?
Based on this story, it implies that Asgard is matriarchal. Like maybe the queen doesn't rule, but it follows the queen's lineage. That's not how anything's described, but in this specific story is what I'm assuming implies.
Aesir is basically being Jewish.
I fucking hate you. Oh, God damn it. 90% of our audience won't get that.
Asgard has some of the best bagel shops you'll ever get in your entire life.
Fuck you. When you ask someone if they're Jewish and they tell you wrong parent.
Hey, you need a good lawyer, you stop by Asgard. You need a good lawyer and you need a good general practitioner. You stop by Asgard. That's the place to do it.
So they spare no detail is like left undone on Thor's wedding dress.
No, absolutely not. No, they're gonna. And I imagine Thor the whole time, like every little adjustment they make is like, I don't think that fit my figure very well. It's framing my thighs the wrong way. I imagine he was very involved in the process.
Sounds like it. So he's absolutely humiliated by this dress. And then Loki's like, I'll go with you as your maidservant. So they get into Thor's chariot that's pulled by his magic goat and head off to Jotunheim.
By his magic. I always forget Thor has goats.
Magic goats.
He has magic goats. Yeah, I genuinely love that. I love the idea of this is my pet goat. He's magic. He helps me do magic stuff.
So they get to Jotunheim, and they are welcomed by Thrym, who boasts that the gods brought him his prize. Brought him what he was due.
Naturally. Yeah, those Jotun, very, very, very low cunning and very, very boastful individuals.
Thor gets them into trouble during dinner.
Naturally.
Thor's known for his appetite, so can you guess how much he ate?
Oh, it was a whole bunch. I can't remember off the top of my head, but I can only imagine.
So, he ate an entire ox, 8 salmon, and all the dainty food that were prepared for the women.
Wait, only 8 salmon?
And many barrels of mead he did drink.
So he ate a whole ox, and then there at the end, he was starting to get full. He was like, I can probably only do like 8 salmon tops.
I can't help but imagine the salmon themselves are just like smoked whole salmon. He doesn't even spit out the bones.
He just his jaw hinges like a snake, and he just swallows them whole. wait, Freya, wait, we haven't even cooked it yet.
So Thrym gets suspicious,
and Thrym is like, yeah, not very ladylike, but I'm kind of into it.
Loki makes the excuse, she wasn't able to eat because she's been so lovesick for you. Then, Thrym accepts this and wanted to kiss Thor, and Thor's just glaring holes through him.
Yeah, I don't imagine Thor takes that well.
Thrym's like, what frightful eyes.
Yeah, you're gonna smear my makeup.
Loki's like, she was unable to eat. She was also unable to sleep for longing, because she longed for you.
Yeah.
And Thrym accepts this. So they sit down and they do a ceremony, and then they call to bring Mjolnir to hallow the union, which this is the first time I'd come across that word hallowed in that context. But basically it's kind of like blessing, like to consecrate. Yeah.
Yeah, it kind of means the same thing as like holy matrimony.
Yeah. So then they place Mjolnir in Thor's lap, and Thor just goes absolutely bloody murder on everyone but Loki.
Oh yeah.
As far as we know, Loki is the only person who survived that day. Outside of Thor, obviously. Thor murders Thrym, and then there's all the guests next.
And presumably all the guests were like also Jotun.
Assumedly, yes.
Yeah, that's a lot of...
From the way it's described, it's just Thor and Loki jaunting off with the goats to Asgard. Not Asgard, but to Jotunheim.
Yeah, that's a lot of skull bits no larger than crumbs of bread.
They return to Asgard, and then Thor changes back into his preferred clothes.
And Loki just has a 1,000-yard stare the whole time. Like, I never thought I'd see that many Jotun brains in one place.
I'm pretty sure Loki's used to this shit by now.
Yep, that's our Thor.
And for our final story, Loki shall start the apocalypse.
Oh, this is another good one. The gang accidentally starts Armageddon.
Not the gang, just Loki.
Loki starts Armageddon, and the what is it called? The Always Sunny in Philadelphia theme is playing.
Loki, did you start Ragnarok? Aw, shucks.
The one that goes like...
I've never watched It's Always Sunny.
I've only seen the memes. It looks funny.
First little backstory. Baldur, which is one of Odin's sons, was basically I don't want to know if I want to say the golden son, because Thor's also portrayed that way, but he's the guy that got along with everyone. Like, everyone loved this guy.
Was Baldur the one that couldn't feel pain?
He was invulnerable.
Okay.
So basically what happened is Baldur was beloved by everyone. Like almost no, like, basically the only person who did not like Baldur was Loki. The only person that didn't like, in the entire cosmos, the only person who didn't like Baldur was Loki.
You know what? I kind of trust Loki's judgment.
One day, Odin had a bad dream, and was like, something bad's gonna happen to Baldur. So he hopped on his 8-legged horse.
Yeah, Kratos is gonna come and feed him some mistletoe, and then sorry, that's spoilers. Never mind.
For what, 5-year-old game now?
Five, probably six. Yeah, because it came out when I was still at NEO, so 6 years.
Yeah. So he didn't know what was going to happen. So what he decides to do is he's going to hop up on Sleipnir and ride to the underworld to see a seeress. Basically a prophet, or like a dead seeress to be exact, because they're in the underworld.
Yeah, naturally. Yeah, I can imagine you probably learn a thing or two by dying about being able to see the future. That seems like a magical fantasy thing.
I mean, in Norse mythology, like, yes, death is that, but it's also just implied to be another realm too. You die, you go to hell.
Yeah, death is buying a house in the suburbs.
In Norse mythology, kinda. So he disguises himself and he goes and sees the seeress. She was actually asleep, apparently, and Loki wakes her up and starts questioning her. And
yeah, no shit, she's dead.
She's going on and on about how festive and like basically everything's getting ready for a big festival, essentially. And she goes on and on about how the guest of honor is Balder. And then she immediately stops and is like, wait, oh fuck, that's Odin, isn't it? Because he starts getting depressed at what he's hearing. And just, although I'm surprised he didn't try and, like, again, even though they're in hell, kill the seeress, because, like, that seems like something that the Norse would do.
Yeah, but he's, wise, I guess. Supposedly.
So he just goes off and returns to
Even though he's so well known for his wisdom, he kind of seems like a dipshit to me sometimes.
Yeah. Well, that's what I really like about the gods, because no god in, like, any religions, like, kind of portrayed as, like, truly perfect. Like, they all have, like, faults like us mortals do.
Yeah, a fallible god is an entertaining god.
And that's why we have gods. So Odin returns to Asgard, depressed as fuck, and just tells everyone the news. And then Frigg... So Frigg is the one that's next to nothing known and is married to Odin. So, desperate to save her son, Frigg decides to go out and get every entity in the cosmos, living or non-living, to swear oaths not to harm Balder.
Oh yeah, oaths have always worked.
I'm in Norse mythology, like, for the exact way it's sworn, it works. It's just you can't subvert it. There's subversions available. So just swearing not to harm him. So once she returns, the gods are like, oh, so he's invulnerable. And they start a new pastime with just huck shit at Balder. Testing Balder's invulnerability is the new entertainment in Asgard.
Yeah, what if they accidentally found, like, a loophole that caused him to actually get hurt and just fucking killed him doing this?
Art thou the prophet?
Oh no, is that what actually happens?
So Loki, when Frigg returns, Loki in a disguise is like, hey, did you actually get everything to swear an oath to not hurt Balder? She's like, yes, well, not mistletoe. Because mistletoe's so small and weak, it could never hurt anyone.
Isn't mistletoe poisonous?
Mildly, I think. And so Loki goes and just crafts a spear out of mistletoe.
Oh, yeah, well, okay, I was under the assumption it was the mistletoe that would kill him. But no, it's just a pointy stick.
Made out of mistletoe.
Made out of mistletoe, but it's the pointy stick that kills him, not the mistletoe. Not the, like, when you kill somebody with a sword, you're not like, yeah, it's the iron that we dug out of the rock that killed him. No, it was the sword. What, they didn't demand that, like, the concept of spears also take an oath not to harm him?
I don't know. Maybe when it did hit him, the spear itself deformed, but there was enough momentum that it just shoved straight into him still. Maybe, I don't know.
I'm trying to poke holes into an ancient pagan myth here. I'm not.
There are already so many holes.
Yeah, it's not a winning formula.
So Loki goes up to a blind god named Hodor. And is basically like, you must feel so left out. You can't huck shit at Balder. I'll help you.
You can't play. I'm sorry, it's so fucking funny. I like to imagine that's actually what they call it. They're like, "Hey, you want to go hot shit at Boulder?" Like, fuck yeah, I do. you think they? You think they had the decent? Do you think they had the decency to at least ask if they could hug something at him first, or they just hug stuff at him?
Well, every representation of it that I've seen like in media, it seems like he's enjoying the game. So I'm assuming they got his permission. Like, it seems like Baldur's into the game. Like, he's boastful. Like you can't hurt me. And it doesn't seem to be malicious either, because like supposedly all the gods fucking loved Baldur.
Yeah.
Like everything loved Baldur.
Yeah, Baldur's the fucking shit.
So Loki's like, here, I'll help you. I'll guide your hand. So he hands him the spear and lines up his shot for him and just tells Hoder to, like, throw. And he throws the spear made of mistletoe, and it went straight through Hoder, and he fell down dead on the spot.
Well, rip.
And the gods start shitting themselves because that's the first thing. Well, one, that's one of their favorites, but also that's the first thing of Ragnarok.
Oh, good. I love it when a good prophecy comes true.
So, Frigg, even though she's very much probably distraught right now, composes herself enough to be like, hey, someone go see if Hel, which is another one of Loki's children.
I imagine probably not a favorite child.
The goddess of death. Loki's children include 3 wolves, a snake dragon, and a horse. Also, and a goddess of death. Some depictions show her as like half skeleton and half living. Some of them she's just a regular looking Aesir, kind of like human, but obviously not a human. So, returning back to the Asgard, Frigg composes herself enough to be like, hey, someone go see if Hel will accept a ransom for Baldur's release. So Hermod, one of Odin's lesser-known sons, offers to go, and Odin loans him Sleipnir, and he rides off to the underworld. During this time, the gods arrange a lavish funeral for Baldur. I'm not going to try and pronounce his ship's name, but it means ship with a circle at the stem.
Whose ship? Odin's? Or Baldur's?
Hingorni, something like that. It's Baldur's ship. Hringhorni. Hingorni. So it's a Viking funeral, so they turn it into a funeral pyre. As they were getting ready to shove it out to sea, no one could get it unstuck and out to sea.
Ooh, that sounds like an ill omen.
So they actually had to call up the help of a giantess.
Ooh, don't trust them.
This is the only time I do not see the Aesir kill a giant at all in any of these stories today.
What, do the giants love him too?
Yes!
Really? Why?
Yes. So Hirokin, withered by fire, arrives in Asgard riding a wolf, using poisonous snakes for reins.
God, that's so fucking metal. God, that's so good.
So she hops off her wolf and walks up to the ship and gives it a mighty shove that leads to an earthquake, but the ship is freed from the land. So they begin to carry Baldur's body onto the ship, and Baldur's wife, Nannan, I think.
Baldur's wife?
It looks Nanna. Nanna. Was in so much grief that she just dies on the spot.
Ooh, that's never good. Again, widow dying at the funeral, that is also a bad omen.
Yeah. So she joins Baldur in the ship that would become his pyre, and they kindle the fire. Thor hallows the fire with Mjolnir, and then Odin lays one of his rings, Dropnir, and they lead Baldur's horse into the flames as well.
Oh, don't burn the horse. Come on.
And the funeral ceremony was attended by beings from all 9 realms, gods, the giants, elves, dwarves, valkyries, and many others, stood and mourned, watching Baldur's pyre burn as it disappeared into the ocean. Back to Hermod. He rides for 9 nights through valleys that get darker and deeper as he goes. Till he gets to the river Gjoll. Gjoll.
Gyol.
Gjol. Where he meets Malgud, a giantess who's guarding the bridge. And basically, it's
Malgud.
Malgud. Okay. The D just doesn't sound like it's being pronounced there, but you're probably way more accurate than me. And this is an older language than modern English, so like I barely understand modern English.
Yeah, our audience may not know this, but I'm actually fluent in Icelandic.
So he's like the giantess goes, who is it? Why is he here? And why did he sound like he was an army?
Hey, buddy, why are you so fucking loud? Chill the fuck out.
And it doesn't say what he answered to her, but he just satisfactorily answers her questions and lets him cross.
All right.
Right into Hell's realm. Then he jumps over a wall in that land, and when he gets over that wall, Slipnir jumps over the wall with Hermod in there. He lands right near Hell's throne, and right next to there, pale and downcast, sitting in a seat of honor, is Baldur.
Oh, that's cute. Good for him. Yeah, he got to go down and meet and hang out with Sis.
Cousin? I think it'd be niece. And you know, with Norse tales, he dismounts and sees, hey, I'm just gonna spend the night. There's no gonna be. It doesn't talk about any discussion, nothing. And just spends the night.
Just walks into your house without knocking, right through the front door.
Jumps over your wall and just takes a nap.
Just crashes on your couch without even asking, and then has the gall to ask where breakfast is when he wakes up.
The next morning, he pleads with Hel to release his brother. Well, no, Hel would be his niece.
Hel would be Loki's niece, or no, Hel would be.
Hel would be Loki's daughter, and since Loki was adopted by Odin, that would make him siblings with Baldur. Therefore, Hel is his niece.
Yeah, I was talking about Hel and Baldur. Yeah, so they'd be cousins.
Yeah, so Loki, Hermod, and Loki are all siblings because Loki is adopted into the family as like a full sibling. So that would make Hel, Hermod, and Baldur's daughter. Not daughter, but niece, because Baldur and Hermod are brothers. Norse mythology is very complicated, people.
I feel like there's also a lot of inbreeding going on here that's kind of just going unspoken.
There is. So he begs for Baldur's release, telling her how all living things, especially gods, felt for his absence. They're sad. And Hel responds, if this is so, let everything in the cosmos weep for him, and I will send him back to you. But if any refuse, he will remain in my presence. So Hermod runs back to Asgard on Slipnir, and he tells the gods about this, and they send out messengers throughout all the worlds to bear the news, and indeed, everything did weep for Baldur.
Except
for one giantess named Tok.
It's a solid name.
Which means thanks, by the way.
Interesting. Wonder what did you mean by that, ancient Norse?
Tok coldly responds to the messengers, let Hel hold what she has.
Please, won't you weep for Baldur so that he can return to the land of the living? No, thank you.
She can keep what she owns.
I'm fine. I don't need any Baldur. Thank you very much, though.
And can we guess who Tok was?
It was Loki in disguise.
Oops, it was Loki.
Come on, Tok.
Baldur's condemned to stay in hell.
Yeah, fuck you, Baldur. Good job. Fucking Loki, you fucking asshole. Why didn't he like Baldur? What's wrong with Baldur?
Everyone loves Baldur, except for Loki, apparently.
Loki, what is wrong with Baldur? What do you have against Baldur?
Maybe Hel had a thing for her uncle and Loki was just trying to be a wingman?
wingman for his daughter is such a fucking... Okay, so not only are the Aesir Jewish, but Asgard is also Alabama.
I mean, Loki's adopted.
It doesn't...
I'm not saying it's right, but it's better than a lot of the stuff other gods get up to. Aren't like trying to think, Zeus and what's his wife's name? I can't remember it top of my head.
Oh yeah, Zeus and Hera are siblings, I think.
Hera, yeah, they're brother and sister. A lot more incest happens in a lot more pantheons. This isn't even that bad compared to God standards.
I'm betting there's a lot of incest going unspoken that kind of just didn't make it into the translations.
That and I this is like a summary of something that's already a summary. To be fair, our 4 stories we've talked about this week were summaries of summaries, basically. Because we would spend so much time if we tried to actually get into the meat and potatoes of even one of these myths. So, what do you think of our Genderfluid episode, sir?
Yeah, it's it's very mystical. The whole the act of
getting impregnated by a horse.
No, let's not get crazy here. Let's but just the concept of like kind of transcending gender, the way that like Loki does, as you know, just kind of it's kind of just taken as a given, as like a matter of course. Like yeah, of course he kind of like yeah, when he becomes a woman, he becomes a woman. It's like what do you want?
When he becomes a horse, he becomes a horse.
When he becomes a horse, he becomes just the whole idea of it is really fascinating to me. The idea that it's kind of not just taken for granted, but it's presented as like this very mystical experience. Like it has like profound effects on like the celestial.
I love how we gloss over the fact that Odin rides his little grandson into battle.
Yeah, I don't know what to take from that, honestly. That's just a hell of a thing. I genuinely don't know. But yeah, this is... it's really interesting on so many levels. I'm not really quite sure how to put it into words.
I want to learn more about Norse mythology to see what other crazy bullshit happens.
Yeah. Tyr is probably my favorite Norse god. I really like Tyr. He's the god of law and justice. And he one of Loki's kids, Fenrir. Tyr actually, in order to try and stave off Ragnarok, Tyr sacrificed his arm to trap Fenrir to keep him from doing some shit. I can't remember off the top of my head. It's been a while, but yeah, he's the one-armed god of justice, and it's a really really interesting and a really compelling sort of guy.
There are a lot of fun characters throughout Norse mythology. I think of what I know with how little I know, I like Heimdall. Just absolutely trolls Thor during the cross-dressing stories, like, you know.
Oh yeah, Heimdall loves to fucking clown on people. Heimdall is great. I love Heimdall.
So Derek, where can people find Jews?
They could find Jews in Asgard.
But
they could find me on Blue Sky. They could.
You're going to hell for that one.
Hey, if the shoe fits, they could find me.
Fuck you.
They could. Okay. I'm sorry. They can find me on Blue Sky at Visigoth. The O is a 0. Tim, where can they find the good stuff?
They can find me on Blue Sky at Tim A.K. Otis, but they can also find the podcast on Facebook and Instagram at the Alexander Society Pod, Blue Sky at Alex Society Pod, and on TikTok at Alexander Society. If you've liked what you've listened to, give us a rating and review on your streaming platform of choice, and we shall see you next time.
Skål.